getting better, and that's what they've all been trying to do. You know, because he's thinking, if I can get this man angry, get this man mad, then he'll deviate from his game plan.
Won't be any more of it, that's for sure. And everybody wants to show some respect to each other. And let's see what the fight where it should happen in the ring on Saturday.
Oleksandr Usyk stays completely composed even when Rico Verhoeven tries to ramp up pressure during the face-off and get under his skin. Usyk refuses to be bullied into emotion and answers instantly with a sharp slap that changes the whole atmosphere. Boxing pros are now reacting strongly, praising Usyk's control and calling out Rico's disrespectful mind games in the build-up. Johnny Nelson highlights how far mind games can go in boxing promotion, but even he admits there is a clear line that should never be crossed. In the context of Oleksandr Usyk dealing with Rico Verhoeven's pressure tactics, this shows why Usyk's cold reaction is being seen as justified by many insiders.
After the fight, he may apologise and say, look, I went too far, I shouldn't have said that. But he needed to get a response from Anthony Joshua and get him into a certain mindset.
Eddie Hearn points out concern around fighter mindset and emotional state, suggesting that even elite physical tools mean nothing if the mind is not stable. In the Usyk versus Rico situation, this adds pressure on Rico because Usyk is known for staying mentally cold and calculated even when opponents try to provoke him.
But he's going to be dangerous. Like, all the attributes that he has, they still exist, regardless of his mental state. But I see a kid in pain, you know? I've got to be honest with you, like, I don't see how people around him can be looking at his behaviour and being comfortable with it. And I don't.
Adam Smith makes it clear that controversy is part of modern boxing promotion, and moments like the Usyk slap on Rico only increase global attention. While some criticize the chaos, insiders admit it has only elevated Usyk's fight profile and made Rico's mind games backfire in front of a wider audience.
It's the fight business, and it's just made it even bigger, and we wait to see what happens next. And I'm a storyteller, and I love the interest and intrigue in matchups, and I think this is a fight that the casuals will just revel in. Is it controversial? Have we already seen controversy out of
Oleksandr Usyk shows complete calmness here, refusing to acknowledge any psychological pressure from Rico Verhoeven's antics. His response reflects pure elite mindset, where distractions do not break focus. This is exactly why many believe Usyk has the mental edge going into this heated rivalry.
But he's going to be dangerous. Like, all the attributes that he has, they still exist, regardless of his mental state. But I see a kid in pain, you know? I've got to be honest with you, like, I don't see how people around him can be looking at his behaviour and being comfortable with it. And I don't.
Dave Allen is brutally honest here, questioning whether Rico truly belongs in a world title boxing discussion. While respecting Rico's kickboxing legacy, he makes it clear that stepping into Usyk's world is a completely different level. This strengthens the narrative that Usyk is facing criticism but also proving himself under pressure.
Yeah, but I'm not interested in. I like Rico Verhoeven, sparred him. Know him, nice fella, very good kickboxer, one of the best of all time, but he's not a boxer. If he wants to fight,
can he box?
Yeah, he can box. He's a very good boxer, but he shouldn't be boxing the best heavyweight in the world. If he wants to do it as an exhibition, go and do it. I'm not interested in Usyk Verhoeven, just for the simple fact it's a miss.
Paul Smith raises the controversy around Rico Verhoeven getting a shot at Usyk, with many fighters feeling overlooked. However, he also acknowledges Usyk's dominance and right to choose his path. This builds tension around whether Usyk is being challenged fairly or simply tested by a dangerous crossover opponent.
Boxer for a long time and not really done much in boxing at all to warrant a shot at Oleksandr Usyk when there's a queue so big. And indeed. You know what I mean? And that's the most important thing. The people who are sitting waiting for their shot in line are going to be fuming over this. some would say, to counter that argument, Usyk's probably earned the right to have an easier one.
Johnny Nelson highlights how Oleksandr Usyk has already dominated the heavyweight division and now sits in a position where every move is strategic. Even though critics question the matchup with Rico Verhoeven, Nelson suggests Usyk is still proving himself while also chasing major business opportunities. This adds another layer to the controversy surrounding this fight.
You've got to look at Oleksandr, what he's done. He's wiped the floor with everybody. He's established himself at the top there. So now you look at him and you'll think financially, will he be in a better position than Tyson Fury? No, not in my opinion. Anthony Joshua? No, not in my opinion. The big money fights aren't out there for him. So he's got to do something. He's got to put himself in a position where he's got to win, because he's proved he's top draw. So in this fight here, I think it creates interest, intrigue. I'm quite sure there's a healthy pay packet at the end of it. This is now business.
Spencer Oliver strongly questions Rico Verhoeven's rapid rise into a world title conversation, pointing out his limited boxing experience. This criticism fuels debate around whether Usyk is facing a legitimate contender or a marketing-driven opponent. It also increases pressure on Rico to prove he belongs at this level.
Kid's had one bout as a professional boxer. You go, so, you know, how can he jump the queue and box Oleksandr Usyk for the WBC title? To me, that doesn't make any sense at all, and I think it makes a mockery, again, of the WBC.
Peter Fury acknowledges that both Oleksandr Usyk and Rico Verhoeven are willing competitors, and this clash was always going to happen naturally. However, the respect between them does not remove the tension, especially after the Faceoff incident. It shows both fighters are entering a high-pressure environment.
Rico wanted the fight, you know, Usyk wanted it. They said both ultimate fighting men, aren't they? So fights like this are not going to be hard to make.
Ade Oladipo explains Rico Verhoeven's elite kickboxing background and why he cannot be underestimated, even against a boxing master like Oleksandr Usyk. While Rico is respected as a king in his sport, stepping into boxing against Usyk changes everything. This is where experience at the top boxing level becomes crucial.
Oleksandr Usyk steps in and will take on one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. I'm actually quite a big kickboxing fan, so I know quite a lot about him. I've watched a few of his fights over the years. They used to call him the Prince of Kickboxing, and then he elevated to the King of Kickboxing. I mean, he's a very, very, very good kickboxer who's got decent hands. I can't lie to you. It's funny.
Simon Jordan suggests there is a deeper strategic reason behind Oleksandr Usyk accepting a fight like this, possibly linked to business and crossover boxing trends. While critics call it a gimmick, Usyk is seen as someone who always calculates risk and reward carefully. This adds mystery to his true motivation going into this fight.
His own little space, and I can see how the monetization vehicle of this works. But Usyk wouldn't be doing this unless there's a reason for it. There must be a motivation behind it. It must be some form of derivative as to what happened between the various disciplines crossing over with Ngannou and...
Ade Oladipo explains Rico Verhoeven's elite kickboxing background and why he cannot be underestimated, even against a boxing master like Oleksandr Usyk. While Rico is respected as a king in his sport, stepping into boxing against Usyk changes everything. This is where experience at the top boxing level becomes crucial.
This is a joke. This is nothing but a gimmick fight, and it's even more shameless considering the fact, one, it's on pay-per-view, and two, it's for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Does Rico Verhoeven, with his one win over a decade ago against the guy who was 0-5, deserve a world title shot? Answers on a postcard. Can you play the recorder? No. That's the answer. This is shocking. Shocking stuff from Oleksandr Usyk. This is Oleksandr Usyk picking money over legacy.
Simon Jordan suggests there is a deeper strategic reason behind Oleksandr Usyk accepting a fight like this, possibly linked to business and crossover boxing trends. While critics call it a gimmick, Usyk is seen as someone who always calculates risk and reward carefully. This adds mystery to his true motivation going into this fight.
All right, it's going to be Verhoeven's second professional boxing match, but guys, Verhoeven is 6'5", 270, and he is like the dominant champion in kickboxing. I used to watch kickboxing all the time. Growing up, if there was no boxing on TV way before the UFC, they'd like ESPN to have kickboxing on. I used to watch it, right? Chris, you have fought. Now look, it is not boxing, it's kickboxing.
Ade Oladipo explains Rico Verhoeven's elite kickboxing background and why he cannot be underestimated, even against a boxing master like Oleksandr Usyk. While Rico is respected as a king in his sport, stepping into boxing against Usyk changes everything. This is where experience at the top boxing level becomes crucial.
In fact, I think the fight is going to be a fun one. I think Usyk's probably going to wash Rico, but hey, you never know. Francis walked in there, knocked down Tyson, jiggled his balls in his face, and ended up almost beating him. So yeah, I'll watch this. It's an entertainment fight. It's a crossover fight, and while I think that Oleksandr Usyk has bigger fish to fry in the heavyweight division, when KBL is a man.
Simon Jordan suggests there is a deeper strategic reason behind Oleksandr Usyk accepting a fight like this, possibly linked to business and crossover boxing trends. While critics call it a gimmick, Usyk is seen as someone who always calculates risk and reward carefully. This adds mystery to his true motivation going into this fight.
This is the real kickboxing king, a heavyweight undisputed champion that's reigned for 12 years plus, you know, at the top. So he's fought everybody. So now, you know, he's had every kind of challenge. You know, he's come through that, and with him being around me in boxing as well for so long, and knowing that he fancies it, and he said, you know, we had a discussion about it.
Simon Jordan suggests there is a deeper strategic reason behind Oleksandr Usyk accepting a fight like this, possibly linked to business and crossover boxing trends. While critics call it a gimmick, Usyk is seen as someone who always calculates risk and reward carefully. This adds mystery to his true motivation going into this fight.